So I've got this wood, and I want to make some Christmas ornaments. Just, not quite round, more of a icicle type shape. I don't know. I want to turn some wood. I really enjoyed when I made all my handles before, so I want to do it. I want to make some Christmas ornaments. And, I have this idea in my head, but it's a little foggy. I don't quite know what it looks like in reality. So I'm going to put some of this wood together. I want to, because I don't want just like one solid piece of wood. I want different varieties of wood. I got 3 different species here, so I'm going to slice those up, glue them together, and then turn it and just create something like kind of like a shape like that. You'll see when it's done. I need to cut all these things together, kind of get them to a rough shape. I want all these things, maybe 2.5-inch diameter max, maybe 4 or 6 inches long. Hopefully, when I actually make these things, it'll turn out well, and it'll turn out something like what I have in my head. Because again, it's one of those things I won't know until I see it. Like I kind of have this idea in my head of what it looks like, but I don't know, because it'd be really fun to really cut these pieces down really fine to where you have all these like little tiny pieces of wood, like this really speckled type thing, but I don't want to cut it to that degree, so I'm going to do 3 pieces of wood together, so you just have some different angles, some different things going on. And I hesitate to like put all this stuff together, because I may cut the first like, oh, this is where I went wrong, so I don't want to put all this stuff together, but at the same time, it is nice process-wise to, if you're going to do all your cutting, do it all in one go. So it might be best for me to do a test run and make sure that what I think I want this to be is what I want it to be. For my blanks, I did glue some blocks of wood together. I got a couple different species, glued them together. I kind of did cut them to a more or less symmetrical shape, just to make it easier on the lathe. It's easier to cut these down with a saw than it is on the lathe. Just a couple different blocks. This is one of the big boys. A block like this is what I got this out of. Yeah, like that's how much waste you get. You cut a lot of that out. You don't end up with a lot of that. A couple of these. So I've got a bunch of blocks, glued them up, clamped them, trimmed them on my bandsaw just to get them more or less symmetrical, because it just takes longer on the lathe. You're just wearing your lathe tools down. Always mark your centers. I've just got these between the spindles. Pretty much it. I really like turning wood. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it is crazy. Like, I do wear a full face mask, and I mean, there's stuff hitting you right in the face. So a full face mask is definitely required. So I've been working on the lathe. I've made some ornaments. I'm going to show them to you. I'm going to show you the ones I made first, because you can see the ones that are first look like they're done first, and I've gotten better as I go along. This was my first one. Looks a little bit like an acorn. Might have been nice if I kind of done a little bit cap to make it a little more of an acorn, but it's okay. This was my second one. You got some stuff going on there. It looks like almost like a dreidel. So this one, in my mind, it was like this, but then I was like, oh, you turn it like this, it looks like a Christmas tree. So this one I'm going to turn over. And then also, this was just left over from my little upside down Christmas tree looking thing. It's kind of a bell, kind of not. I don't like that one. The last one I did, where I'm like finally kind of getting into this. Look at that. I like that one. There's a lot going on there, which is what you want. So I'm going to try to focus on shapes like this. I do want to kind of do this, but do something a little more Christmas tree-like. But for a start, it's not bad. I'm going to finish them in linseed oil. I looked at linseed oil and tung oil. Tung oil is a little bit more durable, a little bit of a harder finish. But I don't intend for these to be handled a lot, and tung oil is twice as expensive, so I'm going linseed. That's where we are. Loving this mini lathe. I've got my big lathe, and I was thinking, do I need both of them? Well, for stuff like ornaments that are this small, the big lathe is just a little too big to get into that kind of detail. So I guess I'm keeping them both. I need to figure out where this thing is going to be. Right now, it just moves from workbench to table saw to, all around the shop as I need, because it's in the way. So I need to find a storage space. I don't have like a place I can just sit at. I don't have an extra table. So that'll be something I just pull out as needed. Kind of heavy. That's the way it goes. Tools. So I'll just show you what I've been using. I've been using roughing gouges, 3/4 and 1/4. And the 3/4 is nice to get an overall shape. The 1/4 is nice to really get in a little bit of detail. Because especially some of these small things. I mean, like these bands, that was done with the 1/4 gouge. A lot of the shaping, that's all the 1/4. Like when you get this small, the 3/4 is just too big. Keep your tools sharp. I sharpen these things before I start. When I finish, because you keep them sharp, it's going to cut well. I mean, there are just wood chips, shavings, like everywhere, all over me, all over everything. I've got a dust collection, but it doesn't quite get it. I'm going to make a few more. I think I can make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 more. It depends on how big I make them. Like if I make them all this size, I think I'm going to have 8 more. If I can cut it and, make some of these maybe half this size, where I get into some stuff like this, maybe a little more detailed, might could go 12. I don't want everything to be this big. This is kind of large. It's actually the nicest, but I could do, you know, a amount of detail just in this. You know, if I cut this one just right here, that's kind of a cool ornament. So I'm gonna look at that because I don't want to make them all big. I like these handheld sizes, like these guys. These are good sizes. So I'm gonna try to stay in that range. Maybe make one more big one. So top down is the order in which I did them. You see, these are two of my final ones. Definitely very simple to start. It got better. Once I kind of had an idea of what I was doing, what shapes I was making, things went a little bit quicker. I really like these multicolored ones the best. They look kind of cool. They have a cool look to them. I'm going to oil them up next. This one got a little big. Yeah, I like the variation of sizes. I mean, some of them are multicolored, some of them aren't. It just depends on the wood I had, basically. Those first few, they're a little sad. I mean, it's not bad, you know, if you paint it, if you did something with it, but I'm not. I'm just gonna linseed oil it and be done with it. See, I got one where you can see the wood must not glued very well. You can see it got a little chip in it. That's okay. The first couple ones probably took me 20-30 minutes each. Well, not those two. Those didn't take me very long, but some of these. Then I got to the end, went quicker. Oh no, I'm happy with the one I made. Yeah, they're kind of cool. I don't know. Kind of curious to see once they're oiled, once they have a hook in them, what they look like. I really like the look the linseed oil gave these. I mean, see, it looks really warm. It really brought out the differences in the wood. See, a lot of these have some multiple colors. Looks really nice. These are kind of, honestly, these are my higher tier. These are my lower tiers. But even these look nice. So I'm going to put the hooks in them. I've already put hooks in one. I tested it. You can see it's not perfectly straight. It's a little tricky. I just put that end in my drill and did it that way. They're just tiny. I don't have any drill bits to start a hole. I really, all in all, I like how this stuff came out. I mean, these look really cool. Linseed oil really did its job. You know, I had a choice between linseed oil and tung oil. Tung oil is a little bit tougher, but these don't get a lot of wear and tear, and tung oil is twice as much, so that made the decision kind of easy. So now I just got to put hooks in all of them. So as I'm doing it, I'm just putting this in the end of the drill. It's a little crooked. It just does not want to fit in there very well. So this is kind of the best. I may try to get it on a little bit straighter. With the 3-jaw chuck, it's just hard to get it dead center because you can see it wants to slot between these two flat pieces. So it's going to be off center no matter what. I got the first one in. It's a little crooked. It doesn't look as crooked as it actually is, which is nice. And from there, I just hold the ornament and drill it in. Worked on the first one. Let's do it on 17 more. So this whole thing seemed a bit haphazard, but it is working. I'm just putting the end of the little eye hook into the drill, and then I'm just drilling into the end of these things. I'm eyeballing center. I probably should be doing a better job of it, and not just eyeballing it. And then I just hold on to it. I mean, it's not necessarily a straight, true drill angle, but it is working. And the nice thing is, I mean, there's a fair margin of error in these things. You can look at it. There it is. My eyeball of center, pretty close. There we go. And so just put a hook in that. Ready to go. Because I wondered, well, how do I do this once I got these? How do I put these things in? And this seems like the best method. If there's somebody got a better idea, I'd love to hear it. But this is what I've got, and this is what I'm doing. Finally, one that is straight where I don't have to hold it. See that? See, I get these crazy angles, and that one's just such a small little peak. I think I gotta try to straighten that up a little bit. I'm afraid I'm gonna break off the peak of that tree, and I'd prefer not to do that. Yeah, just did not want to straighten up. But when you look at it, that doesn't look terrible. That is more than passable. And that's all I've been doing these things, is just putting a hook in it, and this is it. Not a bad project. I've got 18 of these here. I'm going to give some away. I'm going to keep a couple. I think initially it's taking me half an hour to turn each ornament. As I got along, I realized these shapes work better than some others. I mean, like look at this. These are my first shapes. This one especially, kind of boring. These are some of my later shapes. Like, you look at these. These are a lot more interesting, and of course I did glue some more together where you got a little bit more going on, a little more pattern. These just a little more interesting.